In today's Monday morning update, we are going to talk about a game changer to the XRP ledger, along with taking a look at some of the manipulation behind the scenes with cryptocurrency, a little bit of distortion and discrepancies between the Shanghai's Futures Exchange and the London's Metals Exchange for our gold. And then we're also going to be talking about some of this bond sell-off. We have currencies being devalued around the world, Japanese yen down to a level that we haven't seen in 33 years. So we're going to dive into the currency war, the commodity war, and we are going to be talking about the crypto chaos. And I am trying to keep this one together, but I am so excited. This is going to be my first update since the Twitter Spaces that we had yesterday, Sunday, where we started it off with Reggie Middleton, and we had Reggie on for about an hour talking everything financial markets, his DeFi patent cases, and his ongoing situation. And then we talked about the broader crypto markets and his expectations as we finish off this year. Fantastic conversation and insight from Reggie Middleton, one of the best when it comes to analyzing financial markets. And then we transitioned as we had Steven Narioff appear out of nowhere. And I didn't know that Steven was actually friends with Reggie, but I guess they go way back. And so Steven Narioff, the Ethereum whistleblower, right? The one that we're waiting to drop the big bombshells. Well, he came by my Twitter space yesterday and he dropped some absolute bombshells, gave us somewhat of a sneak peek at what is coming down the pipeline here. He says that basically a few hours of recording is going to be dropped here shortly, probably coming up this week, and it's going to be dropped in NFT version on Ethereum on the XRP ledger. He's hosting it on a separate website. I told him hopefully you got a backup and another backup, and we need to put this everywhere and make sure that we protect this. And I'm going to be honest, folks, I'm still trying to collect myself after this conversation that I just had with Steven. It came out of nowhere, wasn't expecting him to stop by. His lawyer actually stopped by as well too, but his lawyer did give us the thumbs up. He did appreciate the conversation that we were having. And I will tell you just real quick, I'm going to be, going back, pulling this recording, and I will piece it all together for you guys and present it to you in something that you can watch and listen back to. But I'm going to tell you right now, this guy is the real deal. He's a true patriot. He has nothing to gain from this. He doesn't even own XRP. And he's really just doing this because he wants to save his country. And we got right to it. See, I was already warmed up in the space from talking with Reggie. So by the time Steven Narioff came in, it was like we just were already going 100 miles an hour. And so he just hopped in and the conversation just took off right from there. And I mean, we talked directly about Vitalik Buterin, the type of character that he is. We talked about, I got my notes here. I'm going to piece this together and really digest it. I don't want to wing it off the fly here because I still can't believe that really we had Steven breaking some of his story on my Twitter space yesterday. So that recording is there, the full 3-hour recording. It was fantastic with Reggie, Steven, and then we had some of the best big hitters in the XRP Ledger community, including Quincy Jones, XDC developer, but also on XRP as well. And we had kind of an XRP roundtable with some great conversations, 3 hours, but I'm going to piece this thing up. I'm going to give you the interview with Reggie, and then I'm going to give you the exclusive with Steven Narioff. I'm really looking forward to that one. But without further ado, I'm going to try to gather myself together and bring you this update because we're coming up on another important week here. So let's take a look here right now at the financial markets, and then we'll take a look at the other information and update that I wanted to share with you guys as we get the new week started. Bitcoin basically ending the week at about 37,000 after rallying up to 38,000 this week. You can see that's a pretty impressive move for Bitcoin, back up to a level that we haven't seen since April, May of 2022. Now for Ethereum, it was the same thing. It was the BlackRock Ethereum spot ETF that took this thing all the way up to 2100. This is a level that we've tapped here a couple times. And so the overall cryptocurrency space rallying strong. XRP did the rally early, and this was back up to 73 cents for XRP. That was fun to see. It got its rally started off at the beginning of the week, and then it basically just chopped sideways while Bitcoin and Ethereum kind of took back the show to finish off the week. Now the DXY kind of cooling off here. We'll see what happens. You can see these are weekly charts that we're looking at right here, way zoomed out till basically the last the depths of the bear market, and coincidentally, when we were hitting the depths of that bear market, right, that's when the DXY had just topped out before it began to roll out there. And so right now we've seen that the DXY has rallied back up to 106, 107 as of late. But we're going to be watching this thing. If the dollar continues to weaken, this is going to really, really bring back inflation. And the problem with the dollar and with these treasuries right now is that the Fed gave us another pivot. And so the Fed pivot is already here. And now we wait for Jerome Powell to potentially drop rates into next year. But in the meantime, they're already having big problems with the treasury auctions. We had the big near failure, and it was the longest trail that we've seen in the bond auctions since 2008. And for those of you who don't know what the trail is, I didn't know what the trail was either until this week. What the trail is at the auction, let's say, your 2-year, or let's just go with the 10-year, was trading at basically 4.5, 4.6% this week. So they started the auction off, let's say, at 4.5%. Well, the trail is where they have to finish the auction off at. So they start off at 4.5%. There's no buyers. So they have to raise, and eventually this auction leads to 4.5 is the start, goes up to 4.6, maybe finishes off at 4.7 before they can close out the auction and they have enough buyers. And so that trail is that discrepancy on where the auction starts at from where it finishes at. And that just shows you the lack of buyers that are showing up at these treasury auctions. And so, like I said, you're seeing a weakness now in the dollar once again, because what does the Fed have to stand on? They have no chance of fighting inflation unless they continue to raise rates or at least keep them elevated for longer. But by already doing the soft pivot, he's already showing his hand. And so this is what's leading to, and then the rest of the world is being forced to dump our treasuries because of the currency devaluation as well. Now, we are coming up here on some key events this week with October CPI inflation data on Tuesday, October PPI on Wednesday, retail sales data on Wednesday, and the Philly Fed manufacturing data on Thursday. Really good economic data to pull from there. And then when it comes to the building permits on Friday, that's going to be more for our real estate analysis. And then we get a total of 14 Fed speaker events this week. Important week for inflation and the Fed. And so this is going to be a massive week coming up, and we're definitely expecting some volatility. Now, I wanted to share this one right here. As we're pointing out, U.S. corporate bonds are being dumped by Japanese investors at the fastest rate in recorded history. So this is why the bond auctions are going so poorly, is because not only do they not have buyers showing up, but you have countries and folks around the world that are offloading bonds at the fastest pace in history for Japan. Now we continue over, and why are they having to do that? To try to save their currency. We see that the Japanese yen is closing in on a new 33-year low against the US dollar. Now, they're getting desperate, and you can tell they're getting desperate because we see that Japan has been dumping U.S. treasuries during illiquid overnight hours. So this is from Just Dario on Twitter. Is the JPY carry trade unwinding, accelerating? They cannot even wait for the U.S. to open and better liquidity to come in. So they're getting a little bit of desperate sailing pressure coming in here. And the same thing's happening with China. China sold the highest amount of U.S. securities in 4 years during the months of August. Now, they did clean up the streets of San Francisco. I don't know if you guys have seen that, as President Xi is going to be coming in to visit President Biden. And so maybe Biden can convince Xi to stop selling the highest amount of U.S. securities in 4 years. And then you're seeing that they've been dumping the bonds at an even faster pace, right? So we're going to be watching this one as we get the retail investors also selling off nearly $16 billion worth of stocks last month, the highest amount in 2 years. You want another data point? I got another one for you. We just covered how the hedge funds have the highest amount of short positions that they've ever had in their history since it was ever tracked. So they must know something that we're trying to figure out, and that's the situation at hand right now. As we see, the equities have rallied here as of late. That's fantastic, and they might continue to do so even more as we see the DXY kind of cooling off right now. And so this could be a return to risk on if folks want to front run the Fed and they think that we're going to get this Fed pivot, we're going to get the money printer turned back on. Then that could lead to stocks rallying once again. Now we see folks are just trying to find yield wherever they can. And so they're piling into the Magnificent Seven. Those 7 stocks have kept the S&P 500 propped up. But this thing's really starting to unravel, and our bonds are a leading market. The bond market is going to lead the rest of the way, as we understand that your 30-year mortgage is based off that 10-year Treasury bond. Well, the 10-year Treasury is moving back up, and so your mortgage rates have moved back up, right? Now, we did see mortgage rates cooled off as of late because the bond market had cooled off a little bit, and so the mortgage rates, the average, went from about 8% down to 7.3%. That was a brief move, and so I guess if you want to buy that dip, you can, but historically, you're still at the worst housing market for affordability that we've ever seen as well. So one more pleasant data point to finish off. Now, let's get into the market manipulation. Right now, we are seeing and reporting as we open up the gold markets, we see that gold is opening up the week at 1,996 on the Shanghai Gold Exchange. This is 2.9% over London. This is the discrepancies that we've been talking about and the arbitrage opportunities for traders, right? And what's happening right now that we've been watching is gold was trading at 2,100 on Shanghai, while gold in the U.S. COMEX and the London Metals Exchange was trading at about 2,000. Well, then you started to see gold in the West caught up to what was happening over in the East in China. Now, it's going to be interesting to watch if that same thing happens right now, because that gap had closed. Basically, the gap had closed and the Shanghai Futures Exchange had kind of come back down. And that gets done through folks, trading that arbitrage, and eventually that market comes back. But now we're seeing once again that we're about 3% discrepancy arbitrage between the Shanghai Gold Exchange and what is happening over in London. So it's going to be very interesting to watch that. Let's take a look here real quick as we are seeing that silver back down this last week, back below $22, basically to start off the week. A little bit of a buying opportunity on the precious metals and the gold. We see gold got hit again last week, and that is back down to 1934 for your gold. But as I just reported to you guys, right, we see that in the Shanghai Gold Exchange, we're trading at 1996. So over 3% discrepancy and arbitrage opportunity. And we're going to be watching that one closely from here. Now, we're seeing manipulation not just in the precious metals. We've been watching it in the cryptocurrency space as well. This is why I've been feeling uneasy, and I remain patient with the current pump that we're in. Yes, I would love for this to be the beginning of the next bull run. And it very well could be just off the fact that Fed Chair Jerome Powell has already started the pivot. But the manipulation that I'm seeing in the cryptocurrency space is not comforting. And I'm going to show you something interesting that we just found here. This is from Daniel Musani. He says, please retweet and tag. That would be Paulo, and that's the CEO of Tether and Bitfinex. So he's trying to retweet at him. Community needs info about Tether. They created or issued 4.3 billion USDT on November 8th at 1310 UTC, exactly when Whale Alert stopped working, exactly a day before crypto and Bitcoin pumped. Now, I didn't catch this. This is Whale Alert, who's been tracking so many of these transactions in the cryptocurrency space, right? Massive whale transactions. Apparently, they were experiencing technical issues with their domain on November 8th. And literally, right as this happened, we get 4.3 billion issued at the USDT. That's the Tether Treasury. And then we see this is just one day before the crypto and Bitcoin pump. Now, take a look at this chart right here. So out of nowhere, this market cap grows by 4.29 billion out of nowhere. Okay. And that was shortly after Whale Alert goes down. So Whale Alert misses it. But then what's interesting is that if you look at this market cap pump and this rally, it's very similar to what we experienced at the beginning of 2022. And so this line right here, this vertical line, is for the Ukraine war. And sure enough, we had a massive amount of printing at Tether and a massive amount of manipulation that ran us up into April and May before crypto really got pulled back down, right? And then that was when, that brought us all the way down to the lows in November, okay? But this is the similar type of run-up that we're seeing right now in Tether market cap. And then that spike right there that you're seeing, this red arrow, that is the 4.3 billion injection. And so it was like out of nowhere, they just pumped this thing up, and then it's back down to about 86 billion for the overall market cap of Tether. But a whole lot of shady activity going on. And then you see this vertical line right here on the Bitcoin chart shows you when that 4.3 billion Tether was printed, what happened after that? Well, over the next 24 hours, we pump all the way up to 38,000. So basically down all the way, we cleared out to about 35,000 before we pump all the way up to 38,000. So was this another manipulation pump? It looks to me like it very well could have been. Now, as I've been saying, I would love for this to be the beginning of the next bull run, but I'm just remaining patient, and I got my bags packed. If we want to send it, we can send it. Now, to finish off this session, I want to talk about this XRP Game Changer. This is going to be very important for the XRP ledger. Right now, we have a new major breaking change is on the way to the XRPL ecosystem, and this is going to shape yet another rippled version update from Crippenwriter. Okay, so huge shout out to this gentleman, Crippenwriter, for putting together some really informative threads. I'm going to skip over and get to the good stuff on this. So basically, the code for the XRPL is called Rippled. Okay, and we are upgrading from version 1.12 to version 2. Not to be confused with Ethereum 2.0, right? This is XRPL Rippled V2, okay? And the high-level overview as follows. Don't be put off by the lingo. I promise to go over everything and simplify it for you later. And that's why I appreciate Crippenwriter for breaking it down and making it simple for guys like myself to understand. Here's what's new. An API version. We get an upgrade performance enhancements to the transactions per second. 4 new amendments. Now, these are amendments that are in addition to the 5 amendments that are being voted on right now. These 4 new amendments are completely new and have not been put up for voting yet. New RPC method with several bug fixes and refactoring. Okay. So XLS 38 is going to be one of those amendments, along with digital ID, and that's XLS 40. Along with performance improvements and increasing transactions per second. And so, like I said, I'm going to skip over this. A lot of updates here for the developers and a lot of good stuff happening. I wanted to cover this one, though. The X-Chain Bridge, as it's now being called. Originally presented as federated sidechains. Many of you guys probably remember that, the federated sidechains. That sounded pretty cool. But now we have changed this to the X-Chain Bridge. And this is from one of the engineers at Ripple, senior software engineer at Ripple X Dev, Mayuka Vidari. And this is the revised version, will give a means to bidirectionally connect XRPL assets across XRPL like ledgers using witness servers. So basically, you're creating a bridge, and you would be able to create a bridge to the Zahal ledger, the XRPL, a CBDC ledger, the EVM sidechain, you name it, we're going to be able to basically bridge over. So that's very exciting. The other amendment that I'm very excited about is the DID. Introduces a self-sovereign identity on the XRPL that is decentralized and completely complies to the W3C Credentials Community Group guidelines. Identifier examples for passports, usernames, and RFIDs. So that's going to be big for digital ID, and the implications there are massive. And it's just further utility that the XRPL really needs to be adaptable and evolve with where our new economy is going, right? Everything tracked digitally. We need that digital ID. And for your ability now to have a self-sovereign identity on the XRPL, this is going to be massive utility. Another amendment coming in, fix disallowing incoming. This makes disallowing disallow incoming less restrictive. This fix clarifies how authorized trust lines should be set up and permitted if the issuer and the user, you or me, have enabled particular settings flags on their accounts. So that sounds good, I guess. I really don't know what that means. I'm going to have to get like Vet back on a Twitter space or one of these smart XRPL devs to come back and explain what some of these amendments and what some of these methods are. But nonetheless, this is going to be a game changer for the XRPL as we are updating to version 2. Very exciting progress. We have 5 amendments right now that are being considered. I do believe that we just got another vote for AMM yesterday, so I think our current tally is up to 13. Clawback also growing above 50% consensus. And then one of the fixes that's being considered right now has just reached the 80% consensus as well. So it needs to remain at 80% consensus for 2 weeks. And then the amendment is accepted and it is, codified into law. Or the law of the code has been changed, I guess we could say. Nonetheless, I am going to be looking forward to having another session with maybe some of these XRPL validators so we can dig deeper on this game changer. But I just wanted to let you guys know that it is coming. Some of the validators are already going to be going down for maintenance. I've already seen a couple. I think Vet is going down for maintenance last night. And so we're going to be watching this one here closely. Another exciting week coming up, important economic data. And so make sure you guys stay tuned by subscribing, hitting that notification bell. And it really helps us when you smash that thumbs up and drop a comment down below. Let me know what you are looking forward to this week. And if you want to, you can let me know what content do you guys want this week. We've been covering a lot on the financial markets, the different asset classes. Of course, we do cryptocurrency every single day. But if you have any other cryptos in mind or any other content that you're looking to get, feel free to drop a comment down below, and I would love to get those questions and those topics covered for you guys in this week. We got a lot more content coming on the way. I got the exclusive from Steven Neri off the Ethereum whistleblower. I'm definitely going to be chopping that up for you guys, along with another great appearance from Reggie Middleton. And so it's just been an absolute pleasure. It was a massive, massive space for me yesterday, and I'm just so looking forward to carrying this momentum throughout the rest of our year here. Just a couple months left to go, and if you're looking to get in contact with me or join our community, just head on over to my website at zachrector.com. I'm going to head on out for now, and I will see you guys in the next one. God bless you all.